What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the NCSL Dynasty here on NCAA 14, and also featuring that college football revamp as well. We are starting to reach close to that halfway point in season number 4 already, and this has been an exciting season. I think this is the most that we have ever seen in terms of upsets and surprises, and I expect that to continue here today. We got 16 nationally televised games that are going to be coming your way, as well as, I believe, at least one top 25 matchup that is going to and surely be riveting and exciting from beginning to end. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the NCSL content coming your way in football fields around the country. And if you are, I need you guys to go ahead and do me a massive favor. Go ahead and smack that like button, get that subscribe button, also get that popcorn out because it's going to be a good one. And now let's get on these football fields around the country for this week's NCSL action. Let's get it. So let's get week number 5 of the NCSL season officially underway, and we'll get things going with number 2 USC hosting the Ducks of the University of Oregon, led by their offensive coordinator Remy Natalius, one of your guys' custom coaches, by the way. So we'll see what USC can do against his Oregon squad as they look to remain undefeated, as Victor Spence, he'll hand it off to Matt Sullivan. Matt Sullivan will nearly find his way into the end zone, almost finds the end zone right there. But on a 4th and goal, they decide to go for it, and the gamble pays off. Victor Spence will narrowly get the ball to cross the plane, and USC, they will take the lead. And they will make that lead bigger by the end of the first quarter as a big-time run by Matt Sullivan, who just refuses to go down. USC has a big early lead on their hands, and it looks like it might not get much better in the second quarter either, because we will see USC settle for a field goal. So already up 17-0, but Oregon will not be shut out forever though. Oregon's going to run it on the ground with Matt Rhodes, and Matt Rhodes is able to find some running room, able to pick up a gain of 9 on the play. But then 1st and goal, looking to pitch it out to the outside. He'll find his way into the end zone with Josh Walker Jr., the custom. Oregon is finally on the board, and it looks like we will have a 20-7 lead going into the halftime locker room. Meanwhile, in the second half, as Oregon tries to work its way back into the game, their quarterback, Thomas Gibson, will make sure that they get in the end zone there. Touchdown, Oregon. Did not decide to go for the 2-point conversion there. So it is still going to be a 2-possession game, even though they were successful at hitting that extra point. So got to ride their defense a little bit to try to work themselves back into this game. And unfortunately, that defense is going to break. Jacob James will find the end zone for the USC Trojans. They'll get a touchdown there, and we'll see this USC squad also be a little bit more aggressive. They'll get the 2-point conversion, and it's good. Jacob James will run it into the end zone there on the 2-point conversion. So it is a 17-point game. Maybe that non-2-point conversion attempt for Oregon could haunt them a little bit. Could have been just a 2-possession game instead of a 3-possession game right now, but it is what it is at this point. They will run it in with Josh Walker Jr. again, though. He'll get another touchdown on the ground, but that might be as close as they're going to get, because USC, they get a touchdown off screen and then this field goal as well. And it's safe to say that USC will remain unblemished as they take down the Oregon Ducks at home, 41-21, in a little bit of a shootout. So, that being said, we do have a lot more NCSL games happening all around the country. We're going to check in on teams like Arkansas that just got ranked. We have a user versus user matchup between Georgia State and Georgia. Josiah Krakowski, the offensive coordinator of Georgia State, will be taking on Jake Jacobs at Georgia. So, really looking forward to that particular game later, but few other games that we wanted to tune in on first. How about Arkansas? How do they handle the pressure of being ranked in the top 25, for example? They are in here ranked number 19 in the country. They're taking on Texas A&M in the Southwest Classic, and we'll see what this Texas A&M team is made of. This would be a big win for their program. They've really been down the last couple of years, so if they can win this game, this would be really a step in the right direction, it seems like, if they can get that to happen. But Arkansas is putting together a drive of their own. 20 seconds left. Going to throw over the middle of the field. Able to find some space. And it's going to get across the 5-yard line. First down for Arkansas. I would imagine they'll have at least one, maybe two more plays in the end zone if they want to take it. We'll see how Arkansas wants to play it. Texas A&M sends the blitz, and it works. Fumble is on the ground. Jacobs puts it there, and Texas A&M is going to recover. So a goal line stand for the Aggies, and it could propel Texas A&M to victory. You truly never know. It could absolutely be a difference maker. And right now, Texas A&M finds itself ahead against the number 19 team in the country. But that being said, though, Arkansas will take the lead thanks to an Isaac Jacobs touchdown pass. So a 3-point game between these two teams now. Looks like it could be in for a possible photo finish on our hands, as Max Stuckey will run the ball up the gut for a gain of 8. Texas A&M looking to answer the bell, looking to retake the lead, and they will with Matt Stuckey. Touchdown, Texas A&M. The Aggies are back ahead, and they're looking to finish the deal against Arkansas. Looking to run it up the gut as they're trying to put that killing blow into this Razorbacks team. As now, critical third down coming up. Arkansas needs to hold them to a field goal, and it's not going to happen. Matt Stuckey is going to run through multiple defenders, and that will do it. Texas A&M pulls it off, an upset of number 19 Arkansas, who drops their first game of the year. Now, that being said, we should see if there should be any other upsets around the country, as number 17 Florida is going to be taking on a hot Kentucky Wildcats team led by their sophomore quarterback, Justin Credible. And we have a little bit of custom versus custom action as Octavian Cater is waiting on that other side. So, first drive of the game for the Florida Gators. Octavian Cater drives it all the way inside the 5-yard line, and from there, he's just going to use his mobility to find the end zone. So Florida, they will take the early lead for right now, but Justin Credible can also play too. Justin Credible got his guys in the red zone. They'll get it into Darren Fleming, who makes it a much more manageable second down. Whereas 2nd and 1, Credible is going to hand it off to Darren Fleming. No, it's Jay Bowling. Jay Bowling, the backup tailback, finds the end zone for Kentucky. And the Wildcats, they will eventually take the lead off of a long field goal. They did miss the extra point, so 16-7 will be your score. Florida will tack on a field goal, but Florida might also be placed on upset alert right now. It has not been a great first half for the Florida Gators. Here's hoping that Florida can play better in the second half so that they can escape disaster. They would lose their 3rd game of the year already if they were to drop this game, but looks like Florida also came ready to play. Eric Boyd's going to find the end zone for the Gators. They will retake the lead here in the 4th quarter, and then Cater with 8:20 left to play in the game. He'll find his receiver. He'll find Robinson for a key touchdown. Would create some space for this Florida Gators squad. But you would think Kentucky would be a little bit more aggressive late in the game. But on 4th down, instead of trying to go for it, they settle for a field goal. So a very intriguing decision. And they they kick off the ball back to Florida. Thankfully, the gamble did work. They'll get another shot at it, but 30 seconds left, no timeouts. It's all on the hands of Just Incredible, who throws over the middle. He wanted a 4 vertical and just did not have enough on the ball. So Kentucky will just fall short as Florida will escape disaster in the swamp, winning by 5. Meanwhile, Penn State is looking for an opportunity to get themselves ranked in the top 25. They're 4-0, but they have not been ranked in this top 25. At least not yet. Maybe a win against Navy could do so if they could win convincingly. And this is a good way to start. Corey Carter finding the end zone for the Nittany Lions. Granted, we have some kicker issues as their kicker barely made that field goal, and not to mention also missing an extra point. So you hate to see it. Kickers really down bad here in this game where I guess kicking's kind of been an issue in the last couple of weeks, huh? But that being said, Navy is trying to retake the lead with 3:20 left. They send the blitz, but Mike Allen is going to be able to get open on the outside. Spencer Grant will then get his second passing touchdown here in the game, and Navy will have a 14-9 lead going into halftime. And they're also going to double dip as well. Spencer Grant with a touchdown on the ground. So it looks like Navy might be poised to run away with this game, ironically. And we might be seeing why Penn State has not been ranked in this top 25. Are we seeing them exposed as possible frauds right now? That could certainly be a thing, as Navy will find the end zone. Touchdown, midshipman. And Happy Valley, man, Happy Valley, it is dirt quiet right now. You can practically hear a mouse fart in this stadium. Hopefully that touchdown will help bring that crowd back to life, but still a little bit of a deficit that Penn State will need to overcome, as they did attempt the extra point. The extra point, again, no good. So a 13-point game where 2 touchdowns will have to be their way for them to win this game. Start of the fourth quarter here as quarterback will drop back to pass, and he will fly into the end zone. He took a shot, but I'm sure it's going to be worth it for him. That's going to be a touchdown for the Nittany Lions. So Penn State is back in it, and so is this crowd. But 6-point game, a field goal could put it away. So can Penn State make a play here in the red zone? Looking to the right-hand side, and Brandon Green nearly picks up the first down. Gain of 7. Now we're getting into within 5 minutes left in the game. Gonna hand it off again to Marquise Woodard, and that could be the nail in the coffin for the midshipmen. Getting that late touchdown. They will also go for the 2-point conversion, and the 2-point conversion is no good. So 34-22 is your score, but Penn State failing to score yet again. And at this point, I think Navy is just looking for some style points as they're looking to get back to 500 on the year. They will have their rival Air Force next week, and Navy will win 41-22 as the Nittany Lions, well, they just proved why they're not a top 25 team right now. Meanwhile, the Memphis Tigers are one of the interesting teams in the NCSL, I would guess, in terms of variability of what you get, because Memphis has top 25 wins. You know, they beat Alabama. I think we saw them beat Ole Miss too, but then we see them not play very well in simulation. You know, they lost to teams like Oregon, and Oregon, we saw them earlier in the episode. That's Oregon's only win of the year, right? So that's where we're at right now with Memphis. We'll see which Memphis team shows up, because if it's the Memphis team that beat Ole Miss, then, you know, LSU could be in the world of trouble, as we are, of course, here in the Liberty Bowl. Good weather conditions, by the way. Let me just say that. Oh, my word. That being said, LSU looking to expand the lead. That's a great throw to Joe Potts. Able to put some touch on that ball, and Derek Brown's going to have a touchdown pass because of that. You love that kind of touch from a quarterback. That is not the easiest throw to make in the world, but it also helps when you have playmakers on the outside. And hey, Derek Brown, he certainly has his fair share of playmakers on the outside. So LSU will have a convincing lead going into the halftime locker room. Memphis will tack on a field goal, though. They'll tack on this field goal. Memphis will be down by a couple of possessions. This could really help Memphis really cement themselves as a team that is competing for a Sun Belt championship. They were in that Sun Belt championship game last year against Ole Miss. But if they want to do that, they got to beat this LSU squad. And it looks like this LSU squad came with bad intentions this year. That's a big reason why they're ranked number 13 in the entire country. So LSU looking to be winners of this one, and it looks like that's probably going to happen at this point. Want to see if Caden McPherson could possibly make this a little bit more interesting towards the end, as they have a 3rd and 15 with 39 seconds left. They still have to get the onside kick even if they score, but they do get the touchdown. They do get the touchdown here, but they go for the 2-point conversion. This could be a risky one. And sure enough, the 2-point conversion is no good. LSU will hang on and win 31-22. So LSU gets to 4-1 in conference play because of this. And now we have our user versus user matchup. Georgia State taking on the Georgia Bulldogs. Jake Jacobs, one of your custom coaches. He is the defensive coordinator at Georgia. While Josephi Krakowski, the former Georgia Southern running back when they were in the FCS ranks, for those of you that are OGs from that FCS Dynasty series on NCAA Football 06, well, he's here and he's going to be playing, he's going to be looking to possibly be that guy that's going to turn around this Georgia State program. He's the offensive coordinator there, as McPherson will look to try to run it into the end zone. And hold up now. Wait a minute. Georgia State, they got the lead here. Okay, we see you. And Georgia State will have a lead. Huh. Interesting stuff. Justify getting the best of Jake Jacobs there. So Georgia is down by 6 points. We'll see what they can do with this 2-minute drill, as Georgia will eventually drive down the length of the field, get inside the 5-yard line, and they're going to finish too. Antonio Paris is going to find the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia. And the Bulldogs are going to take the lead into the locker room, but still doesn't change the fact that this is a much tighter game than what we realized was going to be, right? Like, we did not think this game was going to be this tight at all, but we might start to see Georgia take over a little bit here in the second half. A few minutes into the third quarter, we have our first and possibly only turnover of the game. Brandon Robinson just going to eye up the quarterback, knew that check down was coming, and yeah, it's going to be returned back to the crib. Pick 6 for the Georgia Bulldogs. So 21-13 in favor of Georgia now, but how about the poise by Michael McIntosh, taking it on a read option next play and takes it 75 yards to the crib. Touchdown, Georgia State. And they are a 2-point conversion away from tying this game up. 2-point conversion on the way. They're going to try to run it, and it's no good. Gabe Fleming did not have any sort of running room at all. So Georgia State is still going to be down, but they're only down by a couple of points. But then Elliott Hartman happens. You know, if Georgia State can have a big run, surely Georgia can have the same thing as well. And yeah, man, Elliott Hartman's going to take it to the crib. Touchdown, Georgia. And the Bulldogs will extend their lead yet again. Just perfect blocking on the outside. Nobody even touches Elliott Hartman. You just got to love the execution. So Georgia State finds itself down by 9 yet again. So McIntosh will drop back the pass. He's going to actually drop back. He's going to run. He's got some space on the outside. McIntosh with one man left to beat. And he will be caught from behind. But a 68-yard run for McIntosh. He'll eventually set up a field goal for the Georgia State Panthers. and that will make it interesting, but no scoring in the fourth quarter, so Georgia does end up holding on and winning anyways. So a few more games getting ready to happen here. Most notably, we're going to see one of your guys' custom coaches. He's the offensive coordinator at UAB, and we're going to see him right now, actually, hosting number 4 Miami. I believe this is Legion Field. I'm not sure if they play on a different field nowadays. I would imagine, I thought UAB Stadium was smaller in real life. Anyone that's a UAB fan, let me know down in the comments what's happening with your stadium situation, because I just can't remember off the top of my head. But I can remember that Caleb Kirk is that guy. He was a Heisman finalist as a true freshman, and he looks like he wants to prove that his true freshman campaign, that it really was not a fluke, and he's gonna prove that by getting 2 rushing touchdowns here in the first quarter alone. He is not wasting any time on a UAB team that honestly did not win a single game last year, and it looks like UAB might be on track to do that again. UAB, needless to say, being down horrendous as a program right now, and that's going to look to continue as Caleb Kirk is going to... Wow, they don't give him that touchdown? That's crazy, bro. I can't believe they don't give him that particular touchdown there. So it's going to be 21-0 after Caleb Kirk inevitably puts it in yet again. Pause. Miami will, of course, blow out UAB. A huge blowout for the Hurricanes. Meanwhile, we got number 9 Washington making the trip up to down to Palo Alto, California, to take on the Cardinal of Stanford. Stanford been one of those up and down teams as well this year, but they're taking on a dominant Washington team that is looking to prove that they're better than a regular season team, because they finished as the number 1 team in the country last year, but then lost in the college football playoff in the quarterfinals. So disappointing year last year for the Washington Huskies, but Stanford, gives Stanford credit. You know, they're here in the home stadium, and you know, they didn't just roll the headgear out just like, oh, we're taking on Washington, we can't hang with these guys at all. No, Stanford came to play, and Stanford actually has a chance to take the lead here in this third quarter. And Matt Rouse, give Matt Rouse credit. Gonna give Stanford the lead here. You'll love to see it. So it's gonna come down to this fourth quarter. So if Washington, if they cannot score here in this fourth quarter, Stanford does have a chance to actually win this thing. But their quarterback, he's gonna take it on the option, trying to run the clock out, and that should be the ultimate dagger. Scott Johnson, a 38-yard scamper into the end zone. And so Washington will end up winning after all, 31-20. They'll still be ranked in that top 10. As for Virginia Tech looking to get back into the ranked category themselves. They were not ranked last year, but they were still able to participate in that college football playoff last year because they are the defending champions of the ACC conference. They're taking on South Carolina, and we know what South Carolina is. South Carolina, let's be honest, is a dumpster fire. We are watching this game mainly because of Virginia Tech. We've got to call a spade sometimes, right? But South Carolina is still in this game. They've been a lot better since the last time that we saw these guys. Still remember them losing convincingly to Eastern Carolina. So those memories are still fresh in the brain, unfortunately. But South Carolina is going to throw it out over to the right-hand side to Javon Dotson. And Javon Dotson will pick up a gain of 10. So South Carolina got a chance to actually take the lead here. And they will. Aaron Thomas will run it into the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Gamecocks. And so we might actually have a little bit of an interesting game on our hands, as Virginia Tech does drive it in to South Carolina territory. And shout out to the kicker, make an extremely long field goal. Gonna be tied here at the half, but could be a really intriguing second half on our hands, right? Well, we'll see about that. It's 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Jordan Alvarez wants to finally get some scoring to happen here, because it's been a very quiet third quarter. That's why I had to wait till like 2 minutes left in the quarter to show literally anything in this third quarter, right? But 1:15 left to go. It's a third and goal situation. Ira Dix is going to take the pitch out to the corner, and Virginia Tech will have the lead again. And I think that might be the last time that we see South Carolina even tie the game up. Virginia Tech will pull away late, courtesy of Jonathan Alvarez being a good leader for this team. And in a defensive battle, Virginia Tech will win out, but South Carolina getting better as a football team, though. So, that being said, we finally get a chance to get a studio update in. And how about Hawaii being undefeated and a little bit under the radar? They could make some noise this year. But a team that is looking to try to make any noise at all is Notre Dame. Notre Dame still ranked in the top 25, even though they have not won a single game this year yet. Granted, they only played in a couple of games. They did play some tougher opponents. They did play, like a Michigan earlier this year. And they also played Kentucky, I believe. And Kentucky's actually, I think, is better than what people realize as well. But they're taking on Northwestern. Northwestern is 0-4. So hopefully this is a get-right game for Notre Dame. Northwestern did not receive that message. That message must not have been sent, because here we are, 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and Northwestern has a chance to tie this game back up. This could get very hairy for Notre Dame very quickly. Like, imagine if Notre Dame loses this game to Northwestern somehow. That would be inexcusable, right? That would certainly kick them out of the top 25, which is the last thing that Notre Dame really needs right now, right? So, tie ball game, 7 apiece here, as Greg Hunt's going to throw over the middle to Travis Coleman. Travis Coleman will pick up the first down for Notre Dame. And on that very next play after the first down, Greg Hunt is going to look over to the left. He's going to find his receiver, Jesse Richardson. And Jesse Richardson will find the end zone. Touchdown, Notre Dame. And that is the second touchdown pass for Greg Hunt here this afternoon. Northwestern, meanwhile, is going to drive down the lane of the field. They might answer the bell, like it or not, as Paul Timbre is going to make it a goal line situation here too. Notre Dame gonna be in a tied ball game late into the second quarter. Like I said, could get pretty hairy very quickly. Greg Hunt, you gotta do something here again. And Greg Hunt is going to deliver, throws a dot to the back of the end zone to Travis Coleman. Touchdown, Notre Dame. And Greg Hunt, listen, Notre Dame isn't playing excellent ball. You would like to see them, blow out Northwestern here. But Greg Hunt is not the problem at Notre Dame. It's certainly not that, right? Because Greg Hunt already has 3 touchdown passes. Could mess around and have a 4th touchdown pass depending on what happens on this throw. And it's going to be intercepted. Okay, maybe turnovers are a little bit of an issue. So now Northwestern can take the lead all of a sudden. We'll see what Titus Dunbar can do. And Titus Dunbar is going to throw it out over the middle to Sam Bennett. They're now in Notre Dame territory. But last play of the first half, Titus Dunbar, he's just going to launch it. He's going to say, screw it. Somebody's down there somewhere. And it's going to be intercepted. So Notre Dame will have a lead going into the halftime locker room. But a very close game, much closer than people expect. So here we are in the second half, and it's still a very close game between these two teams. This could be a problem season for Notre Dame. Is this time to have a conversation that Notre Dame is absolutely overrated? I don't know, man. But third and fourth quarter, we do see Notre Dame do a good job in both of those quarters. And while they don't get any red zone scores, it's mainly just field goals. Notre Dame does eventually figure out how to win this game, right? Took a little bit longer than you would expect for them to pull away, but Notre Dame does eventually pull away though. But we do have a couple more games coming up. How about a ranked Texas trying to remain ranked as they're taking on a solid, non-liquid or gas Oklahoma State? But we got a battle of two teams that are struggling first and foremost, and there's always a good opportunity to take a look at the blue turf, one of the most unique turfs in all of college football. But their team is not doing very good right now. Boise State 1-2, looking to finally get back into that win column, trying to get back to 500. But they're still in a better spot than Michigan State. Michigan State has not won a single game yet in this entire season. They're 0-3, but they're off to a good start though. Michigan State is better than what their record says. I think that is certainly the case, as Michigan State, they've put together these types of games, right, where they're able to put good bits and pieces together, but not a complete game. Maybe we can see them finally do that, and that's not how you do it, big guy. You can't do that. You cannot turn the ball over this late into a half. And now Boise State, well, it's going to remain a tied game after all. So 14-all is going to be your score until a touchdown toss to Frank Williams does end up giving Boise State the lead. So Boise State able to take advantage of turnovers in a sense of really seizing that momentum, because since that fumble, Boise State has 10 unanswered. But they're going back to that running back. They're going to remain committed to the FCS transfer in Roger Weber. Roger Weber will nearly pick up the first down on his own. He'll get a little bit of a breather where his backup will come in John Murray. And John Murray, man, he is an absolute bowling ball. John Murray will find the end zone and get the Spartans back into this game. And matter of fact, Michigan State has a chance to take the lead on their own here. Corey Parker will pick up a first down through the air, and then a couple of plays later, no, it's actually not going to be a run. It's a pass. Corey Parker gets open in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan State. And all they have to do is stop Boise State on this drive, and they're going to win their first game of the season. But that's harder than anticipated, apparently, because Craig Wilson is able to get wide butt naked open late in the game. Drew Corbett is considered a hero, and Michigan State will still be searching for that first win of the season, and I know they're sick right now. So, that being said, we'll now check in on two teams that actually both had multiple wins, Texas and Oklahoma State. Texas has been disappointing at this point in the season, but they still are ranked in the top 25, and they're still a good team, just not the great team that people expected them to be, right? Still a close game here midway through the first quarter, but Jason Adams is going to hand it off to Lonnie Cameron, and Lonnie Cameron is going to be able to find the end zone. Touchdown, Texas! And the Longhorns will have an explosive first quarter, one that will end with close to possibly 17 points. Well, not quite, but it might as well have been done in one quarter, because one of the first plays in the second quarter is going to be Lonnie Cameron finding the end zone. So Texas is going to go ahead and score there, and they're going to keep the explosiveness going through the first half. Jason Adams really has a rhythm with his offense today, as Jason Adams will continue to be prolific, just marching the Texas Longhorns up and down this football field the entire first half. But 25 seconds left to play. Jason Adams looking for an exclamation point. Throws to the right-hand side. He had an open man, but leaping grab by Brunner. And Oklahoma State down by 20. Maybe that could be used as a turnaround moment. You never know. And there it is. Mac Henry finds the end zone for Oklahoma State. Here comes the Cowboys question mark. You never know. Would help they can get another turnover here on defense, but you can't turn the ball over if you're leaving wide receivers just wide butt naked open, man. You just cannot let that happen at all. So now 3rd and 3 is going to be coming up as Jason Adams throws over the middle, is going to find Donnie Clark for a 7-yard reception. First and goal coming up for the Texas Longhorns as they'll run it out to the outside. Lonnie Cameron will find the end zone. Touchdown, Texas. And the Longhorns are looking to dominate in this game. And yeah, they are absolutely dominating this game right now. Looking to put up the 40 burger here in this fourth quarter. That run will do it. Lonnie Cameron will put up 40 plus for Texas as the Longhorns win convincingly. 44-21 ending up being your final score in this one. So we do have the Battle of the Skillet coming up though, while we're thinking of staying in the state of Texas. TCU is ranked. TCU is actually ranked, and this is mainly because of their win against Cal back in week number 1. But maybe we're starting to prove that, hey, maybe Cal is not the team that they thought they were. But TCU is still going to get credit. We've already ranked them. And TCU hasn't lost a game since then. So we'll see if that continues for the Battle of the Skillet. And it just makes Jacobs wonder, you know, where was this kind of offensive production when I was here at this school, right? Like, TCU's offense was not like this last year, or in year number 2 for that matter. But now that I'm gone, now all of a sudden this offense is going to be firing on all cylinders. You gotta be kidding me, man. You just have to be kidding me, right? But TCU looks good. TCU is looking good so far here in this first half, but SMU trying to work back into this game, though. They gotta get a first down here. They just need 3 yards, and they get intercepted. Yeah, you hate to see it. Big time play here in the red zone for Hobbs. So TCU will have a 21-7 lead into the halftime locker room. We'll see if TCU can finish the game off, and sure enough, how about the running by Terrence Williamson? Good God, this man can take on some defenders for sure. I'm going to be looking at a first and goal opportunity. And Terrence Williamson, you saw that big time run earlier. Gotta give him a little bit of credit there. So TCU looks like they're in a great position to win this game. But SMU is going to try to make it a little bit interesting here towards the end. SMU is going to get inside the 5-yard line. I imagine they're really going to try to go quick, try to save those timeouts as much as they can. And SMU will score. I did forget to record the but TCU does end up recovering the onside kick, so they'll end up the battle with the skillet. Now, that being said, we do have some studio updates to report on, and it looks like Auburn, who was just in the top 25, well, they're not going to be there very much longer. They lose to Tulane as Tulane wins their first game of the season, so shout out to the Green Wave for that. And we got a couple more games on the docket. UCLA and Ohio State playing in respective matchups. Wisconsin looking for respect, kind of in that same boat as Penn State, as the Kentucky of the world. This would be a big time moment for Wisconsin if they can pull it out against Ohio State. But the Buckeyes are certainly not going to make it very easy on them at all, as Ohio State will start with an opening touchdown, so the Buckeyes will have an early 7-0 lead. Meanwhile, Wisconsin will respond in kind, as Wisconsin will throw it out to Brandon Patrick. Brandon Patrick will have a 13-yard reception, so Wisconsin will be on the verge of tying this game right back up. And sure enough, they will with Daryl Miller. Daryl Miller will find the end zone. Touchdown, Badgers. And we got ourselves a tied game on our hands. 7-all is going to be your score. That being said, second quarter coming out underway, and Wisconsin has a chance to actually take the lead. 2nd and 4 coming up. They're going to run it up the gut, and they're going to try to run it into the end zone with Joe Bullock. Touchdown, Badgers. And Wisconsin, well, Wisconsin is going to take the lead. And we got a doozy on our hands here, you guys. This is going to be an extremely exciting second half on our hands. A possible classic in the rearview mirror. Ohio State just trying to keep up with Wisconsin at this point. Is Madison, Wisconsin too much? for the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're certainly on upset alert right now, and with 5 minutes left to play in this ball game, Ohio State just now takes the lead, but upset alert is definitely alive and well. Wisconsin down by 10 late in the fourth quarter is going to throw a dot over the middle to Lawrence Dotson. Touchdown Badgers, and Mark Silva will set a school record for most passing yards in a single game. He is the first Wisconsin quarterback to throw for over 425 yards in school history. But they gotta get this onside kick, and the onside kick will actually be picked up by Wisconsin. So here we go. Barbecue on the titties. Wisconsin has a chance to win this thing. Silva, does he have any more magic in his arm? Well, he certainly has some magic in Lawrence Dotson. Lawrence Dotson is going to break the school record here too for most receptions in the game. This is something that we have not seen at Wisconsin since the 1990s. But Mark Silva made it happen here tonight, a special moment. And if it can be culminated in a huge win over Ohio State, then it could truly be something else. Silva in the shotgun formation, looks down the barrel and finds Brandon Patrick in the end zone. Touchdown, Wisconsin! The Badgers, they just might shock the college football world. They might be coming out and beating the number 5 team in all of college football. I simply cannot believe it. And Wisconsin gets it done, beating Ohio State 35-31. They won't be kept off the field tonight. Meanwhile, we head out to sunny Los Angeles, California, where we check in on Oregon State and UCLA. But we get our first points of the game, and it's not from the offense. It's going to be the defense that is going to get a little bit of love. A pick 6 for the Oregon State Beavers, as they will take an early lead against the number 7 team in America. Brandon Hollis will deliver the boys right back down into the red zone, and this time he will not throw it to an Oregon State defender. He'll throw it to one of his own receivers, and it seems like that works out pretty well. Leads to a UCLA touchdown. But before the end of the first quarter, Oregon State will tack on a field goal of their own. So UCLA, they officially been put on notice. Second quarter getting ready to get started here, as we still have a tied ball game here, as Troy Ford, he'll get to touch the ball for the first time today, gets a gain of 6, leading up to a goal line situation. Third and goal here, looking over to right hand side. It's going to be intercepted. UCLA is going to pick it off, and this could go the distance. Is this also going to be a pick 6? Are we going to see it 2 times today? Yes, we will. Touchdown, UCLA. And the Bruins will take the lead here once more, making it 17-10. Oh, my word. UCLA just simply out here standing on business, man. UCLA with 24-10 lead, and Oregon State just trying to keep up at this point. But UCLA, I don't think they are going to fall under the same traps that the Ohio State Buckeyes fell under. They took this Oregon State team seriously, even though they are simply not the same caliber of team that UCLA is. And they're going to end up dominating in the second half. A 33-13 lead. Hollis looks over to the right-hand side, and again, Chad Black making some things happen, man. It's going to help lead UCLA to a 46-34 victory to remain in the top 10. But now we finally get our first and only top 25 matchup here in this episode, and it's a doozy. Number 15 Ole Miss is going to travel down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They will be taking on the Crimson Tide of Alabama, who is simply just trying to remain in the top 25, period. Alabama is ranked number 25 in the country right now. They need a win to remain in the top 25. It's just what needs to happen. But Ole Miss will certainly not make it easy on them. Lewis Kelly will get the scoring started for the Rebels of Ole Miss, as Myron Nichols was just simply perfect on that opening drive. A lengthy opening drive for the Ole Miss Rebels, might I add. That takes up 4 minutes, nearly half of the first quarter gone. And needless to say, Ole Miss dominates his first quarter as Myron Nichols hands it off to the star tailback, Justin Forwerda. And Justin Forwerda is going to find the end zone. Touchdown Rebels. And Ole Miss is going to have a 14-0 lead on its hands. Meanwhile, the Crimson Tide are looking to answer back as Alabama is looking to try to get back into this game, but throwing an interception, that's probably not how you want to do it. This has pick six implications and gets dragged from behind. Bobby Bell just practically ran the route for that wide receiver. I mean, it just made it too easy. And Ole Miss is going to have itself great field position to work through. They practically start out in the red zone of all places. And Myron Nichols will oh, no, he doesn't. What a grab in the back of the end zone. Oh, my word. 37. You are a bad man. That is a certified bad man. So going into the fourth quarter, it's still only 14-0. But we do see some more scoring happening, as that might have been Lewis Kelly getting open yet again. No, it's Charles Rhodes. That's what his number is. Charles Rhodes open on that post pattern. Breaks the tackle as well. It looks like Alabama is on the back end of being on firm control right now. Getting dog walked by the Rebels right now. And Alabama just happy to finally be on the scoreboard. It has been a fall from grace for the Alabama Crimson Tide since the retirement of Nick Saban. Is this what the future of Alabama football has in store? I know it's a video game. Sometimes video games is not that bad at predicting things that could happen in real life too. You truly never know. But Alabama does get a scoring spurt going. Ernest Concepcion scores with 3 minutes left to play in the game. So Alabama is going to be right back into this ball game. It's certainly not over yet. It looked over a couple of minutes ago, but Ole Miss is going to get the onside kick and going to make sure to put the Crimson Tide away. Myron Nichols will run it on the read option. And it's a pretty good day when you see nobody touching your quarterback on these read options. He practically walks into the end zone. 28-13 is going to be your score. So Matt Burchard just trying anything he can do to push the ball downfield and give his team a little bit of hope. But it seems like hope is not going to answer. Brandon Williams will pick off Matt Burchard. And oh, baby, I do believe that fat lady, she might be singing right now. That is going to be a win for Ole Miss in a critical rivalry game. So we should expect Alabama to be no longer ranked in this top 25 when the next poll comes on out. But even with all that exciting NCSL action happening, we still had some surprising things came out of this in terms of some matchups on the field. How about Duke losing their first game of the season to Louisiana Monroe? Did not see this one coming, as Louisiana Monroe wins their third game in a year, doing so convincingly, winning 52-14. However, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, they're going to remain undefeated, but sure, it was a close call. Wake Forest gave it everything that they had, but it just wasn't enough. Nebraska will escape for now, winning 34-31. As for the Utah Utes, they blow out Air Force 38-7 as they really start to embroil themselves in Mountain West Conference action. Shout out to the Utah Utes though. They have been playing so well this year that they're going to earn a spot in this week's top 25. More on that later. Speaking of blowouts, Northern Illinois had a blowout against UCF. The Huskies win 44-13. They're also a team that's undefeated. but not yet ranked in this top 25. They are, however, receiving votes though. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Golden Gophers will be set up with a big-time shootout with Nebraska in the next episode, as they'll come into that game undefeated after blowing out Central Michigan 42-6. That Minnesota-Nebraska game could very well be a classic. As for North Carolina, they are going to have their nightmares realized here in week number 5. They not only lose their first game of the season to an underdog, they get blown out by Ball State. Ball State wins convincingly 47-24. However, North Carolina somehow finds a way to stay in that top 25. As for Florida State, they're showing why they're one of the most dominant teams in the country, as through 4 games, they have not really been challenged. Florida State wins 35-14, as Georgia Southern's going to fall to just 1-3. However, we cannot sleep on the Buffaloes of Colorado. Colorado, a team that made it to the college football playoff last year as the Mountain West champions. Colorado looking to do the same thing this year. They blew out Utah State 49-14, and Colorado certainly is a team that deserves some respect on their name. Meanwhile, the number 5 ranked Army Knights are going to take on West Virginia. This was a big moment for West Virginia. Could have garnered some national respect, but they missed out on the opportunity. Not really being competitive in this game, Army wins 38-14. However, a team that is starting to get some respect is the Illinois Fighting Illini. They will beat a winless Appalachian State team 21-11, and that is enough to go ahead and reappear in this top 25. Rice, meanwhile, looking to prove that they are indeed ready to compete for a national championship, as Rice continues their early strong point of the year. Rice wins 42-30 against Kansas State. The Owls are still undefeated. How about a little bit of love for Coastal Carolina, though, as Chanticleers hosted Sacred Heart University out of the FCS. They were no match for this higher level of Division I football, though, as Coastal Carolina does blow them out 40-10. And to round things out, Cal actually wins their first game of the season. They go on the road and take down a ranked San Diego State squad. 17-14 ends up being your final score. So Cal finally wins the game, and San Diego State will no longer be ranked. And of course, you have your current number 1 team in the nation, the Michigan Wolverines. Well, they will stay here for right now, as Michigan beats Kent State 35-23 in Big Ten Conference action to open their conference slate. So it does leave no surprise that Michigan is still your number 1 ranked team in the country, but what is everything else shaping like in the rest of the top 25? Well, we don't have much movement in the top 10. Outside of the Sacred's top 10, though, we will have a little bit more chaos, at least to report on. How about Ohio State with a big shocker? Ohio State drops 9 spots after a collapse, frankly, in that Wisconsin game. Couldn't get the onside kick, and the rest was history after that. So really hate to see that for Ohio State in this regard. TCU, however, they're having a strong season as they move up to number 16 in the country after their win against SMU. Notre Dame is back up 2 spots, and they do that even though they only won 1 game this year, a somewhat close and competitive game against Northwestern. Texas is up a couple of spots. They had a convincing win over Oklahoma State. But then we get some newcomers to the top 25. Wisconsin is officially in the top 25. They're ranked number 20 in the entire nation. Clemson moves up a couple of spots. Illinois is back in. Utah joins the top 25. And then your last 2 spots go to North Carolina and the Arkansas Razorbacks, who are still hanging in the top 25, but just on a thread. So that will wrap things up here for today's episode of the NCSL Dynasty. We are now a third of the way through the season, so I hope you've been enjoying the content. If you have, make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you have to be brand new to the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off, but hoping you guys are out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.